Hello, my name is Brayanoski.
And I'm Austin Morales, and you're watching The Inner Gamer On.
And today we'll be talking about Mass Effect working on a brand new Mass Effect game. And we say, what do we want from this game? What could it look like? What would the next gen of Mass Effect be? Will it be better than Andromeda? I don't know. We're going to talk about it right here, right now. So let's dive on in.
And as always, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and bang that bell, because you know you want to.
But like, I was excited about the prospect of Andromeda because of the fact that it was like the setup. What I thought was really interesting. Like, go to this really far away place. You had this like destined plan of settling this new territory that's like super far away, uncharted areas. You haven't seen any of these people here before. But you're trying to start a civilization. I thought that was such a cool way to like kind of kickstart a new era of the game, and then it just didn't work that way. I'm like, damn, like. I hope they can find a way to bring it back. I'm just still concerned that Bioware doesn't have what it takes, especially if they're working on Anthem, rebuilding that. They're working on Dragon Age, and they're starting a new Mass Effect. Like, hearing the fact that they've been stretched thin as it was previously, and always like waiting until like the last 6 months to like crunch hardcore to like get a game to be polished the way they want it to be. I just don't know if it's gonna come together right.
Yeah, exactly. That's my biggest fear right there.
Yeah. But I really like the thing that was so good about Mass Effect is their characters. Like, they made really good, believable characters and races that, you know, of all kinds, that had unique personalities and unique characteristics and things that really made them special. And you came to appreciate these different races for who they were and what they believed in and stuff like that. And they felt real, and they didn't look the same. I mean, you know, from like the Krogan, right? Wasn't that one of the races? I'm trying to remember the race names now. But
the Krogan.
Yeah, there was all these different races that were very, very different, but they were so cool, and you could like relate to all of them. Like, I recruited all types of these races and had them on my team, and they were great, you know, for their abilities and their personalities and stuff like that. And they did such a good job with capturing that, and I want to see that. I want to see that come back fuller, like broader. Like, I want to see more races and more personalities that you uncover and discover naturally and organically. Like, you go to a planet and meet like a new race for the first time and have to like learn how to adapt to them and like either get them on your side or, I don't know, like help them with certain stuff to build this, like, I don't know, some kind of connection with them or something like that for your, like, get people merged together to like interact and talk and you know, become friendly or not start a war. I don't know.
I mean, that was cool about the original Mass Effect, is that you had to go and do all that and get all these people together.
Yeah.
And, you know, now looking back, it's like, for me, it was obvious that you need to get everybody to get the ending that you wanted, because there's multiple endings in each game. So being that mediary was cool. But I think now that mediary would be a little cheesy.
Yeah.
I forgot what they called you. You're like the arbiter or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about the idea of them doing what they did with Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, where you were the same character, Commander Shepard, amidst like this era, or do what a lot of games are doing today where you kind of create your own character and become your own personality?
I'm fine with that.
Which one are you fine with? There's two options there.
Creating your own character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of being like a single character.
Yeah.
What was the first option? Maybe
being like a already picked Commander Shepard.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. No, I mean, I think
like,
you should be your own character.
Yeah, because Commander Shepard was like, you know,
have your
this is the definition and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's been a lot of like, you know, back and forth about that, where like, you know, more games are leaning into like create a character where like, you know, you play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're Eivor, you're either male or female, and you can make that character look the way you want. They have a voice attached to them, but beyond that, you're ultimately like the character you created.
Right.
And then like, you know, games like Baldur's Gate, I mean, you can do whatever you want with that character, and they have a voice and they can talk, and you have all the things you can do. But I don't know. Like, I still like the idea of when I played like Bioshock Infinite, like you were stuck with, you had that character that you played as, and that was like the voice of that character. So you're kind of, I mean, you're playing them, but at the same time, there is more of I guess there's a bit more of a containment to what that character is and who they are that allows you to develop them out more. Whereas if you are a completely independent person that has no voice, you're not as engaged inside of the conversation and like what's happening. Like I still feel like with character creations, it's harder to get connected to your character and relate to them as much in my mind. I mean, some people will say it differently because it's like if you can be whoever you want to be, then you can relate to them more because they look and feel the way you want them to be. But right. I also just like they haven't quite mastered the ability of if you create a character, either your voices you're not gonna ever talk, which I don't like a non-talking player character. I'd rather them speak to people. But I don't know. I guess there's can be something to say that there's more options available if you just like pick a dialogue option that doesn't get spoken back to somebody, but at least you have more choice in those dialogue options.
Yeah. Yeah. More choice is better, I feel like.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I feel like that's definitely like that's like the Skyrim effect. I mean, that's the Bethesda effect is like they kind of, I feel like spearheaded that whole, you don't have a voice in the game, but you pick dialogue options that allows you more options to hear back from players.
Right.
And people like that.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So you're thinking more character creation.
Yeah.
I guess it would be kind of cool to like kind of pick. I wonder if they'll have an option where you like pick a race also, and can have the ability. Like I don't know what that would look like if you like. What if you could they open it up enough to where you pick a race and based on the race that you pick, it depends on your starting location in the game in this larger scale. Like maybe there's like a big galaxy-wide conflict that's happening, and then you pick a race to start, so that affects your intro of the game, and then can lead into like a same linear path that every character is going to eventually follow, but you have a different opening based on the race that you pick. Mm-hmm. I wonder if they could do something like that. It could be interesting.
That'd be cool.
Because that's kind of like what Cyberpunk's doing right now, where it's like if you pick Nomad, you're out in a different starting area,
right?
Than if you pick somebody that was knee deep in the city.
Yeah, I think you really do need. There definitely needs to be conflict, and I think the alien invasion has definitely been done before, but having like warring sides would be interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, would you want alien invasion again? Ancient aliens come back.
Yeah.
I mean, Andromeda basically did the same thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was like the Revenant, I think, or whatever was the enemy there. But I mean, it'd be kind of interesting if there was like an internal, like a civil war conflict kind of thing, where like there was conflict amongst the people, amongst different planets, and which there kind of was in Mass Effect 1 and 2. Like there was certain races that didn't like each other, but they had to band together to fight one common enemy. Yeah. I don't really know what I want from that. I guess it's just a matter of them kind of delivering on it. I mean, I think the big things that I want to see with Mass Effect is I want to see what they do with next gen choice mechanics, like how they're able to take what they've established already and really have it to where, because we're able to do much more branching paths now, I feel like one thing that Mass Effect kind of got themselves hurt in is that you were either two things. You were either a renegade or a paragon. You were never like, there was never a gray area for you to be like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So therefore you were very clearly like one side or another. And I think it would be interesting if they were able to find where you're not necessarily like, you're a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but based on those different choices that you make, you have much broader outcomes when interacting with other players because you're not just this side or that side. Like they might appreciate you a little bit, but not a lot. I mean, like rather than just like straight up hating you because you're a paragon versus a renegade, they would be like, oh, this person's, I kind of like that. Like I 30% appreciate this person more because of the fact that they have this persona about them or this idea about them, you know. So there's more granularity, I feel like, in the potential interactions.
Yeah, it's like Outer Worlds. Like everyone has their own kind of thought process and how you deal with the situation. They'll react to that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which is nice.
Son of a bitch, they already did it.
They already did it.
Yeah.
Also, it's just, yeah, I feel like Mass Effect, like going off of Andromeda, they feel like they gotta add some like interesting new races or something to the world. And I don't think they need to, especially for this next one. Like, if you just give us an interesting story, like finding out stuff amongst the races that are already out there, like that would be more than enough to satisfy me, you know.
And look at what Star Wars has done. I mean, they've been able to reinvent themselves, not as much of like the main movies per se, but like with The Mandalorian. I mean, that's a super interesting story that's brought me back in by just telling a different story within the universe somewhere else. And I mean, that's kind of what they try with Andromeda, but I feel like they try to get too grand with it. And I think if they do contain themselves into a conflict on a little bit of a smaller scale, not as broad of a thing, they could help themselves out quite a bit. Again, I don't know what that would look like as far as, because I don't think that, I mean, I feel like the easy answer is like, let's have these big, huge open worlds on these planets that you can explore. But I feel like that definitely can hinder the game. Like we talked about earlier about Starfield. I mean, it can get to where it's just kind of boring. Like, what do you do on this planet when you have like an infinite amount of land to uncover? And I kind of want them to focus the attention on, I mean, like when you watch Mandalorian, you have one central plot point that's being told in this chapter, and it's just you finish that plot point and then it's done, and you move on to the next one. There's like a new plot point that starts, but it's very like isolated and focused in on this one moment in time, as opposed to like this is going on and this is going on, this is all happening all at the same time. It's like, no, let's look at this thing in this little bucket, and that's what we're working on right now and focusing in on. It helps really to drive a lot of more character development, more nuances between character interactions, help you get to know more about this type of person, as opposed to having to just have little bits and pieces of like 10 different people, 10 different races and all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
it just gets too grand and too, I feel like the bigger it gets, the more cheesier it can be.
Right.
Because you have to use tropes so people understand immediately what's going on.
Right.
And that's you see that in a lot of games because they take those grand scale stuff, and you know, for the most part, I guess it's fun. Like Watch Dogs, like they're gonna have to use tropes to make things, to get the message across. So you don't have time to, in the game that size, like you don't have time to just dig into somebody,
right?
You know, so
it kind of sucks, but
yeah, there's a way to do it. Like Skyrim, I think it did great. Because there's a bunch of side quests that kind of really dive into these certain factions within the world, and you can flesh out by doing a chain of quests and get to know those people,
right?
And how they interact with other stuff, and how I think why that was so successful is because the main story wasn't that long.
Yeah,
like I think you could beat it in 8 hours or less if you really wanted to. And that was a decent story, and people liked it. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it was enough for you to. I mean, the whole point was to explore the world, so maybe do something like that, where the main story is not that long. Then you can focus in on little factions and get more sense of the world.
Yeah, that's crazy to me that it was so short. I didn't realize it was that short.
Yeah, it's super short.
Yeah,
probably being 6, maybe even.
Damn, man. But I mean, yeah, like you said, there's a shit ton of side stuff you can do. That's what I've really liked about Ghost of Tsushima is that I've had friends tell me like you should do the character side quests. If nothing else, like do those, because when you get to the end game, there's a lot that like you just know those characters a lot better. And when they get into those sticky situations in the main story, then you have a better understanding of who they are and what they do and all that stuff. So I've done a lot of those side quests, and it's been cool to see that because you do get a lot into those different people, and there's some pretty like heartfelt stories that they wrote in there, and they're not side quests like quests. They're like deep story missions that I feel like everybody would be remiss to not experience those. Now the side quests that don't have a character like name attached to them, those mostly can be kind of skipped. They're definitely additional content things, but the main line like character story paths that have like multiple missions in the chain, those are pretty exciting and interesting. And they had some of that in Mass Effect, where like, when you were in Mass Effect, was it 2, I think, or 3? Which one was the one where you had to like recruit all the different people and like do missions for them to get them on your side to join your cause?
2.
Yeah. So that one was, whichever one is that.
Yeah, I think that, basically all of them.
Yeah. Well, there was one that was very specifically, it's like your goal was to go out and like find these people, get them to trust you, and recruit them to join your team, and then you can like make them love interests or not, or whatever you want to do.
One as well, because there's one where like they were coming to the Citadel, and if you didn't have enough people to battle the incoming army, then you would, a lot of people would take damage, and even the Citadel might be destroyed.
Maybe they were more than that.
Yeah. I know, because the second one you had to have enough people with you to actually get to the alien ship hidden in an asteroid field or whatever, and you need enough people to get through certain doors and stuff, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's been a while, and I forgot about the third one.
Yeah. I was trying to see if I can find anything more about it, but they're patrolling for Geth, Soup Breach, Elusive Man. I forgot that was the one where they brought the Elusive Man into the story quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff though. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
There's so many things, but it'll be interesting to see like what if both these games come out the same year, Starfield and Mass Effect, whatever they're doing next. Like that would be pretty crazy to see see that happen again.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or not, just see how that happened, because like really, Mass Effect's been the only contender in like as far as space sci-fi games go, aside from the Outer Worlds. But again, I don't classify them as the same, because I feel like Mass Effect as a franchise was more rooted in like realistic feeling sci-fi stuff. I guess it's science fiction, whereas like the Outer Worlds is like fantasy, like science fantasy stuff, where it's like, those are, corporation ran craziness and stuff like that. Just doesn't, it seems more out there as far as like the settings, whereas this one feels a lot more grounded and realistic. Like this is like the battlefield whereas like the Outer Worlds is like the freaking advanced warfare, where they take your flight up to space and you have like floating planes that can spin around in circles and jetpacks, and like, that's not really that's not a good analogy, I guess, but
I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
I see what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. One's more fantastical than the other, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So there's that. All the above. Anyway, but yeah, I'm really curious to see where they take Mass Effect in the future. I'm semi-excited to play the remastered editions, but I'm also kind of concerned. I'd love to jump back into this game just to like kind of revisit that again, but I don't replay games ever. But I might pick it up just to like sit there and relive some of these story bits a little bit, because I did love those characters a lot. That was always a fun, exciting thing to just get to know these people and play through. And maybe I'll play a little differently this time. Try a different path. Become an evil person instead of a nice person like I was before.